It is possible to feel pulled to the warmth of a flame, and still fear being burned by it. She desires you deeply. You can feel it in her eyes, in her energy, in the way she returns again and again, even if only to leave once more. But something stops her. She reaches with one hand, while guarding her heart with the other. You ask yourself, why does she push me away if she wants me? The answer is not found in words, but in understanding her nature. Let us look deeper, not to judge, but to see with clarity. There are moments when she looks at you with depth, when her eyes linger, when her presence softens, when something unspoken fills the space between you. In those moments, you can feel it. She wants you. There's desire, connection, even longing. But then, just as quickly, she pulls back. She becomes distant, cold, or guarded. And you're left wondering what changed. The truth is nothing changed. The desire is still there, but so is something else, fear. It's not that she doesn't want you. It's that being near you awakens something powerful inside her, something she can't fully control. That emotional intensity can be overwhelming. It brings her closer to a place she may not feel ready for. It exposes parts of her she spent years protecting. You represent the possibility of emotional intimacy, of surrender, of being seen. And that scares her, not because you're dangerous, but because you're real. Real connection is rare, and when it's real, it makes people feel vulnerable. For her, wanting you so deeply can feel like losing power, losing balance, or even losing herself. So she pulls away not because she wants to escape you, but because she wants to escape the intensity of her own feelings. Many men make the mistake of thinking her distance means rejection. But in reality, her silence is filled with emotion. She's not walking away from you, she's retreating from what you stir inside her. And so, the answer isn't to chase. It's to understand. To remain steady when she pulls away. To see beyond her actions into her energy. Because if you can do that, if you can be the calm presence in the storm of her emotion, she will feel safer with you than with anyone else. And slowly, she'll stop running from the very thing she wants most. Sometimes when she pulls away, it has nothing to do with what you said or did. It has everything to do with the unhealed parts of her that you didn't see, and she may not fully understand herself. Many women carry emotional wounds from their past. A betrayal. A love that broke her. A time when she trusted and was left to pick up the pieces alone. These experiences stay stored inside her, quietly shaping how close she allows herself to get to anyone new. When she begins to feel deeply connected to you, it awakens those buried fears. She starts to care. She starts to feel something real. And with that comes a wave of internal questions. What if I get hurt again? What if he leaves too? What if I give him all of me, and it's not enough? These thoughts may not be said out loud, but they influence her actions. So even though her heart wants to move forward, her protective instincts slam the brakes. She becomes distant, guarded, or even cold, not because she's lost interest, but because she's afraid of losing herself again. In that moment, the past becomes louder than the present. And unless she's done deep healing, she may not know how to stay open while feeling vulnerable. That's why your understanding matters. Your calmness when she pulls back isn't weakness, it's wisdom, it's strength. It's showing her that not every moment of closeness will lead to pain. That not every man is here to take something from her. You can't fix her past. But by not reacting to her fear, by standing grounded and still, you offer her something more powerful, a new, emotional experience. One where connection doesn't equal danger and love no longer feels like a risk. She often wrestles between what her heart feels and what her mind tells her is safe. On the surface, she may appear calm and composed, even distant. But beneath that, emotions are alive, rising and falling like waves. She may tell herself to stay in control, to be smart, to not get too close too fast. But the moment she feels something real with you, those walls start to tremble. That's when the conflict begins. Her mind wants logic. It wants reassurance, guarantees, safety from past patterns. But her heart doesn't operate on those rules. The heart remembers what it feels, not what it reasons. So she feels pulled toward you while simultaneously telling herself to pull back. This tension causes confusion not just for you, but for her too. She may not fully understand why she's distancing herself when, deep down, she wants to be close. This internal struggle often shows up in mixed signals. One day she's open, vulnerable, laughing in your presence. The next, she's quiet, reserved, and emotionally unavailable. It's not manipulation, it's protection. When emotion rises faster than her mind can keep up, she retreats to what? Feels safer. Logic, detachment, and control. What she needs is not a reaction, but your steadiness. Not pressure, but patience. When you remain grounded while she fluctuates, she begins to trust the space. She learns that your presence won't overwhelm her, that she doesn't need to choose between losing herself and loving you. Over time, her heart starts to relax. Her mind begins to see that feeling deeply doesn't have to be dangerous. It's not about winning her over with words or chasing her when she pulls away. It's about being the calm center in her emotional storm. When you master that, she begins to trust not just you, but herself with you. When a woman pushes you away, it's often not to end the connection, but to observe how you respond. It's a test, though not always a conscious one. She's checking if the emotional intensity between you is something you can hold without crumbling. She wants to know, can you handle her uncertainty? Can you stand calmly when she retreats into silence, fear, or doubt? This test isn't about manipulation. It's about safety. She needs to see if you will become anxious, angry, or desperate when she pulls away. If you chase her, beg for clarity, or try to force closeness, it confirms her fear that you're reactive, not steady. And a woman who feels deeply doesn't want a man who loses his center the moment things get hard. But if you remain still clear, in your energy, confident in yourself, patient in your presence, something powerful happens. She feels that your love is not based on pressure, but on inner strength. She realizes you're not trying to control her emotions, nor are you dependent on her validation. You're offering space, not pushing for answers. That space is where trust grows. Your stillness sends a message no words can. I don't need you to act a certain way for me to remain grounded. That stability becomes magnetic. She begins to feel safe in your presence, not because you chase her, but because you don't. You stand in who you are, regardless of her emotional waves. Over time, she learns that when she steps back, you don't disappear, but you also don't collapse. You stay rooted, and that is exactly what allows her to return. Not because you forced her, but because she felt that your presence is one she can trust, even in her most uncertain moments. There's a quiet battle that happens inside many women when they begin to feel deeply connected to a man. On one side, there's desire, the warmth, the closeness, the emotional pull that draws her in. On the other, there's fear, the fear of losing control, losing identity, or becoming dependent on someone else for emotional fulfillment. That fear doesn't mean she doesn't want you. It means she's scared of losing herself in the process. In a world that constantly tells women to be strong, independent, and guarded, vulnerability can feel like weakness. So when you offer her a space where she can open up, she might love it and at the same time panic. She may question if she's falling too fast, giving too much, or becoming too emotionally attached. That fear doesn't always come from you. It comes from her past, from society, from internal expectations that say, don't rely on anyone. So what does? She pulls away. Not because her feelings are gone, but because they're too strong. She needs time to retreat, to check in with herself, to make sure she's still grounded in her own identity. This is often when men feel confused thinking she lost interest. But what's really happening is she's trying to hold on to her sense of self. This is where your response matters. If you panic or chase, it confirms her fear. But if you remain calm and centered, she realizes that being close to you doesn't mean losing herself. In fact, she begins to see that she can be herself fully around you, without fear of being consumed. And that's when she begins to open again, not because she has to, but because she feels safe to. Safe to love you, without letting go of who she is. When a woman pushes you away, your instinct might be to close the distance, to explain, to convince, to try harder. But that impulse often comes from your own discomfort with emotional space. What she truly needs in those moments isn't more words, but your ability to hold space with patience, not pressure. Masculine energy, in its highest form, is calm, steady, and rooted. It doesn't chase emotional storms. It stands still like a mountain and lets them pass. This stillness is what allows her to soften, to feel, and eventually return because she senses she's not being controlled. She's being understood. When you stop trying to manage how she feels and instead focus on mastering how you respond, you gain real power. Patience isn't passive. It's deeply active. It's the discipline to remain present without demanding answers. It's the strength to be okay with her silence, her confusion, her retreat without making it about your ego. A woman tests your ability to lead emotionally by observing how you respond when she pulls away. If you become reactive or needy, she feels unsafe. But if you remain composed, clear in your energy, yet not forceful, she feels the stability she didn't know she needed. That's when she begins to lean back in. Remember, pressure creates resistance. Patience creates openness. Don't try to fix her mood or demand reassurance. Simply be there grounded, kind, and still. Let her come to her own clarity while knowing you're not going anywhere unless your self-respect is threatened. This doesn't mean waiting forever. It means giving space from strength, not fear. When she sees that you're not chasing but you're also not folding, she begins to trust you not only as a man, but as a safe container for her most vulnerable self. That's where true connection grows. Sometimes the most powerful shift happens not when you try to fix the relationship, but when you focus entirely on evolving yourself. When you stop asking, how can I make her come back? And start asking, how can I become the strongest version of myself? You change the entire dynamic without needing to say a word. Women are deeply intuitive. They feel energy before they understand it. When you grow not out of desperation, but from genuine purpose, she senses the shift. You're no longer in a state of emotional chasing. You're not trying to impress. You're simply becoming. And that becoming creates gravity. It could be subtle. You start taking care of your body, your finances, your mental discipline. You start moving with clarity, not confusion. You stop texting just to feel close and instead pour that energy into your goals. She feels the difference. You're not reactive anymore, you're intentional. And suddenly, without saying anything, you're no longer the man she walked away from. You've evolved. The energy you carry is calmer, more focused, more self-contained. That creates a mirror. She begins to reflect on the version of you she once knew, and now sees the version she may have underestimated. What you're doing is reclaiming polarity. Masculine growth pulls feminine curiosity. It makes her wonder not out of regret, but from fascination. She starts to feel something she can't ignore. The absence of neediness in the presence of strength. Growth doesn't chase love, it attracts it. And if the connection was ever real, your evolution will stir something in her. not because you asked her to see it, but because you became someone she never expected. A man no longer trying to win her back, but one who naturally draws her forward by simply becoming more of himself. S.